You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 252. My name is Clark from 5cardguys.com and 5cardguys on Instagram. Co-hosting with me is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards. John's away for this episode, but he should be back with us next week. All right, before we get into it, I just want to shout out the free monthly 5Card Guys newsletter that you can sign up at 5cardguys.substack.com. I'll have the link in the show notes for you. I just sent out the November edition earlier this week, and we did some giveaways there, and we also recap a lot of our podcast episodes. And there's this new chat feature on Substack, which I just started using to get some feedback from you guys. Speaking of which, we're looking to start a new, hopefully reoccurring segment called Collector's Corner. And a shout out to Will for coming up with this idea and the name for it. And we envision Collector's Corner being a segment where we hear back from you guys about a variety of hobby topics and questions. And the first one is, what is your hobby hot take? I already got a couple of responses who send theirs in via the newsletter. You can also DM us on Instagram at 5cardguys or at Cards to the Moon, or just email me at hello@5cardguys.com. And it could be anything like, kabooms are highly overrated, or, this is mine personally, home field advantage cards are the new downtown cards and they will skyrocket in value. Hobby hot take. All right. But yeah, we love to hear from you and we'll read them out in a future episode. And, maybe we can have someone who has a really hot take to come on the show and discuss, their POV on whatever they come out with. And just for fun, we'll randomly draw a couple of winners who send us their hot take and giveaway. I just received finally my Topps Now cards that I got in the mail. One of them is the Ohtani 50-50.
Nice.
And the other one is that, if you remember, the Messi Curry Night card.
Right.
And whenever we have enough to read them on a future episode, we'll do that and give away at the same time. All right. So check the show notes for all the details and we'll go from there. Okay. Off the top, I don't know if I'm building this hype in my own head, but 2024 Topps Chrome Update Baseball just came out last week. And I think this could be the best baseball card set of the year. I don't know if this is a hobby hot take, speaking of hobby hot takes, but here's my argument, okay? We got the 1-of-1 MLB Debut Patches again, right? But the list of rookies in this year's set is ridiculous, especially when you compare it to last year's set where really Volpe was the main chase, right? But this year, we got the 3 Jacksons, Holiday, Churio, and Merrill. We got Paul Skeens, of course, Ellie De La Cruz, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Wyatt Langford, Shota Imanaga, who I believe signed his auto in kanji.
Which is
another
sick,
bonus. Yeah, and Colton Cowser, of course, great Baltimore Orioles rookie. The list goes on and on. Plus, that's not it. A personal favorite of mine, I just teased it, as loyal listeners will know, the home field advantage cards are on chromium stock for the first time ever, and it includes a 1-of-1 superfractor, which, if you saw the Julio Rodriguez one that just got listed, it's sick.
Unreal.
Yeah, I love it. So Hyung, 2024 Topps Chrome Baseball, best set of the year, or am I going too far? You can be honest.
I'm going to be dead honest, and I think people don't realize how good this set's going to be. And I think Fanatics have done a good job by creating demand for update. I think update in the last 2 years, so if you think 2023 update and then 2022 update, compared to this release, it's totally different. I would say update would have been a secondary product the last 2 years, whereas this year, this could be debated as the product of the year because of the MLB Debut Patches. Right. And to me, those are it seems like there's a super high demand to them because you've one, you've got those manufactured bounties that we always talk about on certain ones. You're starting to get MLB players involved too. So I've seen like these reels on social media where there's like pitchers who have their MLB debut patch that they're willing to buy it off, right? So it's like stuff like that where it's starting to get more interactive with the actual major league players, which is cool. And then, yeah, I think the MLB debut patches are one of the biggest cards for a rookie, right? So for that to be the center stage with a super, super strong rookie class, I think it is the set of the year. But I would say Topps Chrome is obviously flagship where that's the power. But Topps Chrome Update is a good alternative release in a time period where baseball is kind of dead. So that's why I like it, because baseball's kind of dead, but this kind of gives that spark of, okay, I'm pretty hyped up about this product. People will say it's overpriced, which rightfully so. Yeah, but there are arguments, I think, on the other side too that it's justifiable.
Sure, and I actually we're going to talk about that in our next segment. But yeah, I love that point about MLB players getting involved. I think that drives up the hype a little bit, and it's great for marketing. And speaking on that point, I don't know if you saw it, but Matt Holliday mentioned in Instagram or on social media that he said he would love to have the Jackson Holiday MLB Day. So you got at least one buyer.
Hang on. I'm just going to really quickly look up Matt Holliday. I just want to see what he made over his career.
Right. Whatever that number is, he could pay a lot for the Jackson Holiday. You have negotiating
$160 million to date. So there you go. You have something to work with, whoever pulls that Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, you're gonna just make sure you tag Matt Holliday in on it. I'm sure he'll be part of the negotiation too, or he'll bid on it. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I like, even with breakers, right? And we'll get into that again in the next segment. But like, they're really pushing this product, and I've been kind of enjoying all the YouTube videos that are already out there with the breaks and just seeing what they hit.
Right.
And I think the base checklist is lower too, so that's a bonus, right? You don't get a lot of, you still get a lot of base random hits here and there, but yeah, no, I think it'll be fun to rip. And the only con is definitely the pricing for me, but like you said, it can be justified, which we'll discuss. It's a great segue to our next segment we call Hobby Headlines. All right, so this is in context of what you, myself, and John, we had this lively chat in our podcast chat group. And like I just said, the one major con is the price of the hobby box. And just not Topps Chrome Update, but in general, okay? And I was, I wanted to wait till John could join us on the pod to talk about this, but I think the timing just works out really well to discuss it today. But he did bring up some really great points, and I'll kind of paraphrase some of his points, and then we could just carry on the conversation from there. All right. But one of the things John mentioned is that one of his gripes is with box prices and breaking, the relationship between the two. And the reality is that breaking will continue to be popular, more so than traditional ripping, which means box prices can be controlled outside of regular supply-demand models, right? That was John's main point. And in his words, he says, I could see retail boxes eventually being cheap, but hobby boxes, I don't see those going down at all. So the fear really is that regular hobbyists, regular collectors won't be able to enjoy ripping hobby boxes themselves, right? Curious, Hyung, what do you think of this first point that John brings up?
For me, I'm gonna have to. I agree with his points, and I see it from that perspective. But for me, it's there's a lot more to it than that statement, I would say, because you got to unpack it. One, let me ask you a question. We all wanted to rip a box, and we were quoted like almost $400 Canadian a box. This is where we say, is it worth it? I was looking at Pristine Worldwide, which Keeson, we met at the expo. He's a breaker. He's a breaker. So Clark met him at the expo, but he ran a break, and our friend Jared Cito, I seen him take Milwaukee, for instance, and it was $100 or something like that for a full case of Milwaukee chasing Jackson Churio.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you rather buy one hobby box for 400 Canadian, or would you rather chase a rookie through a break for only $125, let's just say?
Yeah, for me, the latter makes more sense.
Right. So to me, it's like you can't necessarily say that breakers like are ruining or driving these costs up, because it's giving alternatives for people who see value in that. Because for me, the way I see it is, if you do open up a hobby box in general, I think there's value in it, even though there might not be immediate value. This is how we used to rip cards. We weren't looking for the immediate value right away in flipping. We were saying, oh man, if we get that Ben McDonald, that thing's going to be worth millions in the years to come. Yeah. That was the original take, wasn't it? Right? So it's the same thing. I agree. Like, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. Nobody was ripping 2022 Topps Chrome Update, right? They have Julio and Bobby Witt. Obviously, Julio's prices have tanked, but I pulled a bunch of Julio bases and Bobby Witt base. I graded 2 of those updates, that PSA 10, that were going for $100 US. So at the end of the day, I got all these base cards, all the hits, I graded it, and I got PSA 10s that are worth $200 US or whatever it is. And I paid, a few boxes off at that price, right? So for me, over the long period of time, was 2022 Topps Chrome Update maybe expensive at the time? Was it not worth was it not worth it? It was worth it still, because after 2-3 years, there's still value in those boxes, and it's just the timing of when. Maybe not at that moment where you could sell base at 100 plus, but Bobby Witt Jr.'s base Topps Chrome Update is $100+ right now, right? Or maybe it dipped a little bit. So my point is that, one, the price of hobby boxes or people who like to participate in breaks, if they land 10 Jackson Churios for $125, it might not be flippable right now to make a profit, but would that not age well if Jackson Churio becomes a great player? So how can we necessarily say that it's bad or it's taking away from the hobby? Yeah, I get it. It's like it's more expensive for us. But we've also profited from these prices. And ultimately, who controls these prices? Other than shillers. If you have people who manipulate the market, you can't control that. But I'm saying in general, it's the demand. So if Topps is raising their prices, people are saying that's bad for the hobby, right? But that's not what dictates prices. Because let's just say they released it for half that price. Would it not be sold out?
Of course.
By who?
I mean,
flippers?
It depends on. Sure, they'll be part of it,
right? So, and then what happens to the secondary pricing? It goes up.
Yeah.
Right.
But I get.
So somebody's making the profit, and it's the demand that will dictate that price. But at the end of the day, it's the price point where if Topps decrease the price, though.
Yeah.
Right? It wouldn't make any sense. My point is that, like, there would be no value for Topps to decrease the price, because somebody's going to make that margin anyways, because the demand on the secondary market, so maybe people are buying it off eBay, that demand is going to dictate the value. So if people are paying $500 a box, Topps is like, you know what? If somebody's going to make the profit, it's going to be us, the manufacturer, not a secondary market. So and it's like, would you rather the flippers make that money or the hopeful company that's going to reinvest it into the infrastructure of sports cards in general. That's the way I think, right?
Yeah, and in that scenario too, like who's to say the breakers just won't buy even more, right? And unless there's like a specific allocation process, maybe that's part of the answer where breakers only get a certain amount.
There should be allocation, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
I mean, even with 2024 Topps Chrome update, I think we saw it because, you know, the breakers got their Breakers Delight boxes, and I'm sure they got some other hobby and jumbos. But the next day, this is a funny story. You could have bought it on the website.
Yeah.
Right? And we were looking to buy on the website at retail.
200 US, yeah.
Right? And then we were just too late. It sold out by the time we were ready to commit.
Yeah.
So the demand is, you know, they're providing at least some allocation to the general public.
Right.
And who knows, maybe there are breakers out there trying to get more of it. Like that's hard to police, right? But there was opportunity. Like that was up there for a while. You know, the whole day pretty much. You could have bought it.
Absolutely.
Easily.
And it goes hand in hand because like if let's just say a breaker has a lot of allocation, that means he has the customers to fulfill it. So to me, it's like, what about those customers? Aren't they equal customers as us? So it's you would go to wherever supply place had it.
Yeah.
So they're still serving the community because, like I said, breaking is only bad if you think breaking is bad. I don't think breaking is bad. I don't think they're ruining the hobby. I think they're doing, you know, favors for people. I've participated in many breaks. I prefer to break over ripping.
Yeah.
You
and
know
I
what
think
mean?
this is the second point that I wanted you to bring up, but you're kind of already talking about it, is that you said in our chat that everyone views and enjoys the hobby differently, you know, especially with more hobbyists coming on board. So, you know, you said the other side of it, some people, just because it's the state of the hobby, it's what it is in terms of the hobby box prices, jumbo box prices. So some probably might think that right now ripping is just a waste and breaking is the way to go, while others want to rip but can't because, like John pointed out, they think breaking is the reason why hobby boxes are unaffordable now. So there's this different philosophy that's going on, you know, and different hobbyists enjoying the hobby a different way. So that's kind of the complexity of the situation.
For sure. And then you could add on top of that, hey, if that both are those the case, then why don't you go on eBay and snipe singles of that current set? You'll save money on both ripping and you buy what you want and you save a lot of money. So there's enjoyment of that because there's potential, PSA 10 potential of that if you're into raw and grading. So there's that aspect. There's people that think that's stupid. I'll wait until the PSA 10 pops. You want to play that game? Then great. Then there's the game of, hey, everybody's looking at Topps Chrome update and it's inflated. You know what? Clayton Kershaw's a great buy right now. Or whatever. There's that game. So for me, it's all about enjoy it for what it is because there's multiple ways to do this. And just because one way you used to do it that way. So I used to rip a lot more too. I don't rip as much, right? So it's like my styles have to change based on current prices and like the demand for it at the end of the day. And I still will rip and I still enjoy that aspect of the hobby. It's just I'm not doing it as much as I used to, right? So, but now I'm looking at raws more because I think there's a lot of value in raw cards.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's true. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, that the people that don't like the current way things are, and it looks like which way we're going into is that they used to like a hobby a certain way. Right? They used to like ripping boxes at affordable. Yeah. And it's legit. Like it's definitely changed, you know, and like to your point, you can't rip as many boxes as you used to if you have the same budget, you know? And really the only way hobby boxes are going to plummet in value now in the system that we're in is if everyone stops buying into breaks, right? Because then the supply goes up and then even breakers or card stores will have to start liquidating their inventory. And
but do you even want
that
that to happen? Because think of like in order for that to happen, a whole industry almost has to crash. Like the demand for sports card in general has to diminish. So it allows the old hobbyists to purchase it at a reasonable price. But think about all your collections and valuables. What are the repercussions of that? Do you like that it goes down but then most of them would agree that everybody does like it when their prices go up, especially their PC, because now you have a rare collectible and so at the end of the day, you can't wish for one thing without understanding that all of these are interlinked with each other and the consequences.
It's the butterfly
right?
effect.
100%.
It's the butterfly effect. And I love what you said, because I was going to bring this up too, that think about from the card store point of view. You know, we went through a period where there was abundance of card stores growing up.
Yeah.
Remember where we wasted thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of dollars at our age, buying Todd Van Poppel rookies, you know, and thinking that's going to go up. But there are so many card stores we can go to. It was fun. I went after school every day just to rip and, you know, hopefully hit something. But now, after the junk wax era bust, like all those card stores disappeared. Now we're kind of going through a little bit of a renaissance where guys like Mint Ink here locally, and, you know, 401 Games used to be the only game in town. Right. Red Nails 2, like those two card stores. Right. And now we have like a lot more if you do a Google search.
Shout out to Dolly's too.
Dolly's, amazing. Yeah, Will is our good friend. Yeah, like, start, you know, there's more popping up, you know, that have been around a while. But all that being said, it's like, the reason why I bring it up is for breaking. Like, you would have to imagine that if you have a card store now, breaking's got to be a part of your business, 100%. Right? Like, to be sustainable.
Why wouldn't
right?
it?
So yeah, if you get rid of it, to your point about the butterfly effect, I don't know how card stores can survive.
Yeah,
you know, as if you just eliminate that huge source of revenue.
Right. 100%. 100%. It's all connected. And that's why it's like, you could wish that something wasn't the way it is, but then you don't understand the consequences that come with those actions and what was tied to those things. Right. So for me, it's like, there's so much invested in the infrastructure of breaking and the way this, like, if Fanatics is recognizing breaking as a sales channel, like, which they are, right? And it's just a matter of now Fanatics being able to balance the right method in delivering allocation as well as transparency, right? Totally. And then now but that's what we're looking for. So if there's complaints, that means the system's not as good as it can be, and then it's Fanatics' job to better it based on the feedback, right? And that's the evolution of making the hobby a better place. Is this mutual dance of, this is crap, but this is how we're going to address it. This is crap. This is how we're going to address it. And it's just constant flow of that back and forth. And that's the way I see the only way to kind of look at the hobby at this point, because you have such a big player like Fanatics. And that's why it's not saying that, you know, we're pro Fanatics. I'm pro Fanatics because I'm pro anyone that wants the hobby to grow and has some kind of vision and action and plan to put that step forward. That's it. Right. And if it's a different company, and then you have to assess and audit their resources. It's like, what can this company do based on their resources? And then again, you look at Fanatics. What are their capabilities? You're like, this is a pretty good marriage, actually. They could really make this hobby. Like, for instance, MLB debut patches. You guys, do you think it's a plus or a negative for the hobby? I think it's amazing. I think they're going to age really well, right? Especially on someone like Yamamoto, or maybe, you know, if Shohei had one, for instance, that would be insane, right? Yeah. So it's like, those are the necessary steps that you want any company to make that's involved in the sport card industry. And that's why I think we're in the line, or at least I am in the line of, I support influencers. I support positive people that are contributing to the hobby, and not in a negative context, but in general, a positive way. And to me, that it's not saying you're not realistic, but other people can have their viewpoints because they're looking at it in a different context, and that's fine too. Right. So I'm all pro hobby. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to end this segment, because I was going to add to what you already said, but just because us reiterating our points doesn't mean that the hobby is perfect. Doesn't mean that we like it as it is right now. Right. It's still evolving. And, you know, you look at what Fanatics is doing, it does seem to me they're really pushing the breaking side of things. I think they're pushing the limits to it. But I think in a natural ecosystem, there's going to be something that kind of corrects itself. Like if you push something too far, who's to say that people start saying, no, you know what? I'm not interested in this anymore. I think it's too expensive. I think we're just printing too much garbage. And then you see less customers. And guess what? If Fanatics is smart, they'll respond to that response.
Right.
And then it'll kind of, get to a state where more people are happy, more hobbyists are willing to stay in the hobby. But I think we're in this transition phase. Right. And that's why I always say, even off air, we're like, I think it's still early in the hobby.
It is.
Where we are now,
and that's
it's going to look different in 2, 5, 10 years.
And to make it a point, like, if you look at the breakers, like, you think of the logistics. So, like, in terms of breakers, what's the payment method?
Credit.
Or digital in general.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Where hobby shops, you're pulling out cash, a debit transaction, a credit transaction. It's a transaction, a physical transaction. So in my opinion, Fanatics is just making and investing in the process where transactions are easier for the end consumer. And maybe it's more dangerous too, because it's so easy to just buy into a break because it's a click of a button. But that's the evolvement of technology and where our society is going. So when you say the hobby's just started, you're absolutely right, because we don't know what technology is in play yet.
Sure.
And it's just a matter of a new technology forming that totally changed a different channel, right? Maybe breaking in, 3 years, 4 years is not as popular as it is now, because there's other ways to enjoy the hobby now that evolve as technology increases, right? So...
that we haven't even thought about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that point too. We think about how we transitioned essentially from going, paying everything in cash to paying everything in credit.
Right.
Like, I hardly carry any cash in my pocket anymore. And of course that leads to people that have, huge credit debt. That's always been the worry. But for millions of people, it's fine. It's building their credit and they pay it on time. Like, they're responsible buyers out there, and I think we're going to see some of that too in the hobby space, whatever technology allows us to do in a more convenient way. So yeah, I'm sure this is something we will continue to discuss and debate about in the hobby for the foreseeable future. And I thought it was a great chat that we had that I want to bring to the podcast, and we'll revisit again, maybe a year or two down the line, because I think a lot can change even within that time frame.
For sure.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. It's over under. So Hyung, I'm going to give you a list of cards, and then I'm going to give you a dollar amount, and you tell me if the last sold price was over or under that number.
Okay,
all right?
let's do it.
Okay, starting from the low one, low price valued one. 2017 Prism, I think it's the silver Prism that I'm quoting here, yeah, of Donovan Mitchell. Remember Donovan Mitchell? Yeah. How we said he was so underrated, and then we were wrong about it because his prices still kept going down and down and down. And the reason why I bring it up, of course, is if you follow the NBA, the Cavaliers are what, 14-0 now to start the season? Crazy. Something ridiculous. Yeah, they're going to break records. And so Donovan Mitchell's obviously a centerpiece of that offense. So I'm going to give you the number, $400.
For silver Prism.
Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going to say it's over. I think it was under massively in the past, probably even year. But I think there would be a big enough bump where it took it out over the 400 marker. And I think there's not as many silver Prisms in 2017 as well, especially Donovan Mitchell.
All right, so you say over 400.
Over 400.
The pop count for the silver Prism PSA 10, I think I mentioned it was a PSA 10, is 619.
Yeah, super low.
Right? Compare that to Luka's year, over 2,000.
Right.
Just to give you some context. It last sold for $282.
Wow. Wow.
So still under.
That's a great buy.
But the thing is, before the Cavs went 13-0 or 14-0, you could have bought it October last month for $140.
Wow. What a buy.
So it's definitely gone up in the last month, but still low. You know what its all-time high was? It was about just over 2,500.
That's crazy.
Back in year 2021, the golden age of hobby.
I think it's a great buy, to be honest. That's what you want, like over like the Luka Silver Prism. It just the pop count just makes so much sense, right? Especially at that price point where it's $100-$200. But I would have thought it was over 400 for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of a trick one, but yeah, the Cavs, it looks like they're having a magical season, so who knows? He could still go up. All right, second one. We're staying with Prism, Silver Prism, 2017. Wow, same rookie year. Patrick Mahomes. Okay, another team that's 9-0, like perfect. And the Chiefs are, I think, 9-0 now. His Silver Prism rookie card. I'm going to give you the number 5,000.
5,000. What was the peak?
The peak, I can tell you in 1 second.
And do you have the pop count? It's pretty low too, right?
For 2017, I believe so, yeah. It was 960 is the pop count.
960, okay.
The peak was over $14,000.
14,000. We're saying 5?
5,000, yeah. Over under.
I would think that it would have had to go down to like 2-3K. And then it's probably bouncing back a bit near that $4,000-$5,000 marker. So I'm gonna say it's under still.
Okay. You got the analysis bang on, but it's just over.
Just over, okay.
At 5,100.
Wow, right there.
Yeah, so that was a tricky one because it's so close to 5,127.
But is it on the upper trend?
It is on an upper trend. You could have got this card for $2,600 in January of 2024 this year.
Wow.
Double.
Wow.
You'd pretty much double your money if you bought it January of this
year. So I would see it as like dependent on what Mahomes does. It's still, I don't think his legacy is Shield where it could stabilize. So I think it's just going to be going back and forth. And if he keeps on winning, it's going to keep on going up. If he starts losing, it's going to just go down.
Yeah, I mean, like Mahomes' stats aren't that special compared to like his previous years, but he just knows how to win.
That's all that matters. Yeah,
it's a team sport. All right, I got 4 cards for you this time. So it's card number 3, the 2023-24 Topps Mercury Orange Refractor of Victor Wembanyama, his rookie card, autograph, inscribed number 1 pick, and it was a PSA 10. Okay, so it's out of 25, and I don't know if this matters. The serial number is 1 out of 25, so it's the first one. Okay, but his orange refractor, Topps Mercury card with the inscription number 1 pick. I'm going to give you 5,000 as the number again.
5,000, and it's a rookie auto.
Yep.
I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna say over because I would think his RPAs to 99 would seem to sell for like over 5K. So his rookie autos would start, I would think, at $1,000. So number to 25, I would think that it's over 5K, and then his red would go over probably 10K. So I'm gonna say over 5K. Yep,
you got it. 5,580 last sold in this month. Yeah. Maybe the inscription helps too.
Was it the only sale of that? That was like
I believe in a PSA 10. Yeah.
So that's rough, eh? Like if you hit a big card like that, you're not even making that money back from the box.
You still need $2,500 worth to.
I mean, which you should do well still on that box overall, but that's just like you got to absolutely hit a monster for it to be worth it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're also paying $300 for the grading.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always an upgrade, upcharge. Yeah. But at least you'll get it quick.
Yeah, that's right. Express. Okay. Last one. We have to always include, I feel like it's a general rule. You got to include an Ohtani card for these segments. Every segment that we do over under, one of them's got to be Ohtani. So the 2018 Bowman Chrome autograph rookie blue refractor, number to 150, PSA 10. All right. 40,000.
Holy jeez. I'd be really shocked if it's over 40K. But I wouldn't be surprised. It's one of those things, but I don't think it's over. I think it's under. I think
it's the batting one.
Yeah, the batting. Yeah. I think it's under. I'm gonna go under.
All right. I put 40,000 because, I feel like some people might have thought, Ohtani is just skyrocketing. It sold for 34,000.
Okay, nice.
So it was under. Yeah.
So, well, it is like Ohtani's literally a human god. Like, it's just like his. I mean, think this guy. What happened to the whole Ippei story? And then he goes on to just absolutely 50-50 with all that drama, and then win a World Series, and then MVP. How was your 2024?
I think Otani's was better, but yeah. Just to give you some context, it last sold in September 2024 for 28,000.
So it's
gone up a couple of months to 34,000. There was an October sale for 45,000, but that was the jersey number match.
Right. Okay.
PSA
Makes
10.
sense. I could see that
that's
premium.
Your premium. Yeah, that's your premium. All right. Another round of over-under in the books. That was fun. And we'll finish off our episode with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. And if you're new to this show, this is when both Hyung and I will choose 2 cards and we debate which one we would rather invest in. All right. So Hyung, do you want to start things off for us?
Sure. I'm going to pull up something I seen on Slab Stocks because it was interesting. And I always think it's Clayton Kershaw's underrated.
Yes.
And if you're going to invest in a pitcher, he would be one guy, including like Justin Verlander, as guys that I would consider as a pitcher. But that pro debut poll that I don't know if you've seen the poll, but it was the Topps Pro Debut Paul Skeens Superfractor Auto. I forgot who pulled it. I remember somebody pulled it. I seen it on social media, but that ended up PSA 10ing. And it sold this past or a couple weeks ago for $7,800.
I see it. Okay, yeah.
And then you got the gold Bowman Chrome Clayton Kershaw in a BGS 9 that sold on the same day for $7,900. And that's his Bowman Chrome, his first from 2006.
What's the grade?
It's a BGS 9.
Okay.
So same price, $7,900, $7,800 for the Skeen Superfractor. Same day it sold. Who got the better buy there?
I mean, it's so easy for me, but it's got to be Kershaw, the gold.
Right.
Especially with his career and the Skeens was a Superfractor, right?
It's a Superfractor of pro debut, so it's not even his MLB card, right?
It's not his MLB card. It's a sticker auto as well versus on-card auto for Kershaw.
Right.
And I'm just not a big believer in paying a premium for the grade. So I think that's included in the $7,800 for Skeens.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So Kershaw all the way.
Yeah, it would probably be a fraction of that if it was like a PSA 8 or something.
Yeah, or a 9 even.
Yeah. Yeah, mine too. I did this purposely because it was same day, same amount of money, 2 different mindsets. And to me, it's like the person who sold the Skeens, I think, did really well.
For sure.
Great timing. But yeah, it just shows you, even though I guarantee you that Kershaw gold sale was probably a record sale for Kershaw, that just shows where the value is, in my opinion. I don't know if that was a record sale, but I know Kershaw's cards weren't even close to that, even a few years ago. So I know that's a pretty healthy sale for Kershaw, even though Kershaw's a legend, future Hall of Famer, someone that, I would definitely, invest in. But I still think that's cheap for Kershaw. So I thought I'd bring this one up in particular. I knew that your answer was going to be Kershaw, but I think it just paints a picture of immediate hype versus current value or value buys, right? Where you see the value. So I'm going to go Clayton Kershaw as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good point that you brought up. And it's crazy that they're valued the same way now, but Skeens is popular now and it's all about timing.
Right. Roy, you still have a good buy though. Don't worry.
Yep. All right. I'll finish off with mine. So we talk about Julio Rodriguez off the air, how we think he's a good buy now. He just came off a down season, but we definitely believe in the potential. So I chose 2 of his cards. I think you can get both for around $2,500. Okay. So there's the I'm showing it to you on the screen, but it's the 2022 Topps Dynasty rookie patch auto. We talked about Topps Dynasty being underrated, right, in a previous podcast. It's numbered to 5, ungraded, but it's encased in the Topps Dynasty slab, so doesn't look like it was taken out of it. So yeah, you got the Topps Dynasty RPA of Julio Rodriguez, numbered to 5, versus, just showed you guys in our chat the other day, this card, the Julio Rodriguez 2024 Topps Chrome Update Home Field Advantage Superfractor 1 of 1. I think it was the first one that was listed on eBay. Looks amazing, but it is 2024 Topps Chrome Update HFA Superfractor 1 of 1. Listed for $3,000, but probably could get it for $2,500.
Right.
So yeah, if you're spending $2,500, which one are you spending?
Oh man, I love that Home Field Advantage card. I think it's such a good looking card, especially in Superfractor, which I think it's gonna be a thing. Because what was the 1 of 1? There was no Home Field Advantage 1 of 1s before in paper. In
paper, and that it was supposed to be short printed, but I think it's like 2,000, at least 2,000.
Yeah. This brings a different dimension. However, the Topps Dynasty, I think, is the most underrated card, and I did something a couple weeks ago where I sorted through all the Topps Dynasty baseball autos available out of every single year, every single player. I think there are a few underrated buys. I think Bryce Harper is one of them too, but it's ugly. That's the thing. It's not as nice. I feel like Bryce Harper's Topps Dynasties. I will say Julio Rodriguez was, I would say that card you showed me in particular was the best value out there on eBay, in my opinion. Like if I were to have to buy a Topps Dynasty card today, it would have been that specific Topps Julio. And I still think it's a good buy. And I think Topps Dynasty will get its love. And I think Julio is going to have a great season this year. And he didn't even have a bad season. He started so terrible. And this happens every year with Julio. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Jackson Churrio's the same way. Juan Soto kind of the same way. It's like very, very late starters. Yes. So if Julio could get, in the mix really early, I think he's an MVP type player. So I'm hoping that Julio's going to have a bounce back season, even though his season wasn't even that bad. People just assume, but his price is absolutely tanked. I think he's a great buy in general. I'm going with the Topps Dynasty.
Ooh, man. After that spiel, I kind of want to just buy it now. Before someone else is convinced to buy it now from what you shared.
You have a week.
So I have a week till this episode comes out. But I agree with you. I think the Superfractor looks sick. Don't get me wrong. And, my bias with Home Field Advantage, I completed the first year it came out to Topps, which was 2022. So I love it. I love Home Field Advantage. I love the Chrome. It's actually short printed this time, apparently, and not like the paper version. And then the 1 of 1, of course, is obviously the ultimate. But the underrated factor of Topps Dynasty with the patch, the on-card rookie, and just the look of the card. I'm just echoing everything you just said, Hyung. I'm going with Topps Dynasty, Julio Rodriguez.
I think that's a great buy.
Should I buy it? We'll see. We'll update you guys on the next episode.
We'll have a week.
Yes, we got a week. All right. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys. And just like I said off the top, subscribe to our newsletter. It's free. And you get more information there. All the information's in our show notes below, so you can check us out there as well. And we'll have a brand new episode for you guys next week. Talk to you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.